This is terrible news for Madubuike's fans. And the situation is more serious than it looks. The guy who was dominating the Ravens' defensive line, racking up sacks and shutting down the run, just suffered a neck injury. So now what? Nobody knows exactly when he'll be back. What does this mean for the team's defense and the rest of the season? Recent numbers show that his absence completely changes the team's rhythm, and every game from here on could turn into a real survival test. We're going to break down everything you need to know about this injury and how the Ravens are trying to handle this crisis. The Baltimore Ravens just took a huge hit. Nnamdi Madubuike, their star Pro Bowl defensive tackle, has been placed on injury reserve due to a neck injury. That means he'll miss at least the next 4 games, and nobody knows exactly when he might return. For a player so central to the defense, this absence brings a lot of uncertainty about how the team will perform in upcoming matchups. Madubuike had been playing nonstop. He had an impressive streak of 55 consecutive games before this injury, showing not only physical durability, but also consistency and confidence along the defensive line. The neck issue started after the win against the Browns on September 14th, and symptoms appeared gradually, leading to further testing. For any NFL team, losing a player who combines talent and reliability is a major blow. Coach John Harbaugh hasn't hidden his concern. He admitted he's worried about the severity of the injury, but couldn't give any more details. That only adds to the uncertainty, because the Ravens don't know if Madubuike will return this season or need more time to recover. For a defense already struggling, this is a huge red flag. Madubuike isn't just any player. He's a key piece of the defense and an elite pass rusher. Since the start of 2023, he's racked up 21.5 sacks, the most by any defensive tackle in the NFL during that span. His presence along the line changes how opposing offenses operate, and without him, the Ravens will have to quickly reinvent themselves to maintain any pressure on the quarterback. This sets off a domino effect across the Ravens' defense. Without Madubuike, the team has to handle the immediate impact on the run game and pass pressure, while also adjusting the roster to fill the gap. And the consequences don't stop there. Next, we'll look at how the defense, already one of the worst in the league, is being affected. Madubuike's absence shakes the Ravens' defense to its core. The team wasn't exactly at its best to begin with. They currently rank last in the NFL in overall defense, 30th against the run and 31st against the pass. Losing a cornerstone player only intensifies the problems, leaving gaps that opponents can exploit easily. This puts extra pressure on the rest of the defenders, who now have to compensate while keeping the unit functional. The running game, in particular, becomes an even bigger challenge. Without Madubuike, the defensive line lost the power to control the middle of the field, allowing runs that would have been much harder before. This affects not only long runs, but also the defensive alignment as a whole, forcing linebackers and secondary players to cover more ground and take bigger risks. Vulnerability spreads, and opposing teams quickly see exactly where to attack. The pass defense also takes a direct hit. Madubuike wasn't just a force against the run. He also applied constant pressure on quarterbacks. Without him, the team's ability to generate sacks and force mistakes drops significantly, something crucial when the offense struggles. Without pressure, quarterbacks have more freedom, increasing the risk of big plays and making life much harder for the entire defense. Beyond the technical side, there's a psychological effect. Players who are used to playing alongside Madubuike feel the absence of a leader on the defensive line, someone who commands respect and intimidates opponents. That absence impacts the team's overall confidence, especially in key moments against high-powered offenses. With the defense in crisis, the pressure now falls on new names who have to step up immediately. And that leads us directly to the next point. The team's recent performance without Madubuike, which shows exactly how much the defense is struggling. The impact of Madubuike's absence was clear in the 38-30 loss to the Detroit Lions. Without him, the Ravens allowed 207 rushing yards between the tackles, the most in a single game since ESPN started tracking this stat in 2006. On top of that, the team didn't record a single sack, something that hadn't happened in 4 years. These numbers reflect not just the absence of one player, but the collapse of the entire defensive line against a high-level opponent. Madubuike's performance over the past years shows just how much he matters. Since the start of 2023, he's accumulated 21.5 sacks, more than any other defensive tackle in the NFL during that span. He combines the ability to stop the run with elite pass rushing skills, making him almost impossible for offenses to ignore. Losing someone like this isn't just about stats. It changes the pace and strategy of every game. The Lions game was a perfect example of the domino effect. The defensive line couldn't pressure quarterback or control the run, forcing linebackers to cover extra ground and secondary players to make miraculous plays to minimize damage. The result? An unbalanced game, accumulated mistakes, and tougher wins to come by. This stretch of games without a defensive leader highlights that Madubuike's absence isn't just temporary in terms of games. It affects the entire functioning of the team. Every snap without him leaves the team more vulnerable, and every opponent notices exactly where to attack. It's clear that this isn't just an injury issue. It's losing a central piece that changes the entire dynamic of the Ravens' defense. And that brings us to the next point. Understanding Madubuike's personal and contract context to see just how big this loss really is.
All right, we're already past the halfway point of this video, but before we continue, I noticed you haven't left a like yet. It's really important because it helps YouTube keep showing you my content so I can keep bringing you the best news about the Baltimore Ravens. So go ahead and hit that like button. It's free and it really helps. Thanks. Now let's get back to it.
Nnamdi Madubuike, 27, isn't just a talented player. He's a cornerstone of the Ravens' long-term plans. He's in the second year of a 4-year, $98 million contract, with $75.5 million guaranteed, making him one of the team's biggest investments. Losing a player with that kind of financial and strategic importance puts the team on high alert, because the time away isn't just an immediate problem. It influences future roster and tactical decisions. His durability history was impressive. He had played in 55 straight games before the injury against the Browns on September 14th, showing not just physical endurance, but also consistency and reliability. That makes this injury even more frustrating, coming at a time when the team counted on him to lead the defensive line and maintain performance standards. The neck injury itself is more concerning than it appears. Harbaugh said he's worried it could be a long-term issue, but couldn't provide specifics. The delicate nature of the problem requires maximum caution, which means Madubuike's return might not be immediate, leaving the team in a prolonged state of uncertainty. Beyond the physical side, there's a leadership and psychological impact. A player who combines talent, presence, and a high-value contract naturally influences the locker room and team morale. Without Madubuike, the Ravens lose not just offensive strength, but a reference point for teammates, a difference that matters in critical moments. This shows the gravity of the situation. It's not just one game lost or one defender missing. It's a central pillar of the team's sidelined, creating a ripple effect that impacts performance, strategy, and overall confidence. And this absence forces the team to make immediate roster adjustments, which brings us to the next topic. To try to cover the losses, the Ravens made quick roster changes. Besides Madubuike, defensive end Broderick Washington was also placed on injury reserve with an ankle injury. That means the team will be without 2 starting defensive linemen for upcoming games, including matchups against the Chiefs, Texans, Rams, and Bears, forcing the coaching staff to respond fast. The team brought in immediate reinforcements. Defensive end Brent Urban and tight end Zaire Mitchell-Payton were added to the active roster, while defensive tackle C.J. Okoye and nose tackle Josh Tupou were promoted from the practice squad. These moves show the urgency in filling gaps and keeping the defense competitive, even without its top players. Even with these changes, the pressure on the rookies and replacements is enormous. They'll have to perform consistently from the first snap under the coaching staff's watchful eyes, with the responsibility of keeping the defense operational. Any mistakes can be exploited by opponents, and the margin for error is minimal. These adjustments also carry a psychological effect. Veterans must support the new players and maintain morale, while the newcomers must adapt quickly to the NFL pace. It's a resilience test for the entire team, showing that success this season depends on more than just talent. With reinforcements arriving and the defense needing to regroup, the Ravens are in a race against time. Every game will be crucial to see if the team can overcome these losses and stay competitive, especially with the start of the season teetering toward 1-3. The injuries to Nambi Madubuike and Broderick Washington have put the Ravens in a critical spot. Losing two pillars of the defensive line isn't just about numbers. It's about losing strength, quarterback pressure, and control of the run game. Every snap without them makes the team more vulnerable and forces new players to take on massive responsibilities. The reinforcement from the practice squad and new signings can help, but the pressure is huge, and the next few games will show whether the defense can reorganize or if these losses will weigh heavily on the season. The big question now: can the Ravens overcome these absences and stay competitive, or will this defensive crisis set the tone for the early season? The answer begins in the next game, and each matchup will be decisive in showing whether the team can hold strong through these challenges. The season is just getting started, but the future of the defense is already being tested in a major way.
And if you, just like me, are passionate about the world of football and want to learn more about the Ravens' legacy, don't leave this video without sharing it with that friend who is also a Baltimore Ravens fan and will love this content. See those video suggestions on your screen? The first one was handpicked just for you, and the other is a recommendation from YouTube itself.